Oh, is it the next one?
Yeah, sorry.
It's alright. We're up there.
Snuck up on you.
Whoa. We're swerving there. I'm taking over. So an interesting swerve. I'm not really sure what's causing that. Something like that did cause a customer failed trip. Pothole large enough to ruin my day. What was that for? Interesting. What is going on, my friends? I've got a sort of special video here for you today. You know, due to request from comments and feedback from the audience, I have found a method to kind of delete my background altogether in a way that is really clean, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I did get myself a studio grade green screen, so with the magic of that and chroma key, there will no longer be an abrupt sort of background that is kind of cutting into what you're seeing when it comes to these voiceover style videos. And the focus of today's video, as you've seen in the thumbnail and title, is on the failures of 12.6.2. Now, we're going into this with a positive feedback critique mindset, so don't be overly concerned that this is, you know, slandering or making it look bad. You know, most of you have the common sense to know what I'm doing here, which is to actually acknowledge that there are problems, and when they arise, to be transparent about them. So what you're going to see in this video are those cases, that actually ended up in a failed customer trip, or just me needing to take over because it was unsafe, or just a really strange anomaly. The last two examples in the video are of that sort, a really weird anomaly. So I'm hoping you guys can give me your thoughts on what might be happening there. I've not seen it on 12.6.3 yet, starting in chill mode, and I haven't really been able to replicate any of these problems on this latest update yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that with a lot more testing. You know, I almost got to about 2,000 miles on 12.6.2 in a very short time, so you know I'm going to be able to uncover a lot of things with the system, including anything that is alarmingly wrong or an issue. And I have no problem acknowledging that Tesla will very easily be able to handle most of these things. I'm really curious about the little strange anomaly there. But all that aside, there is a sneak peek at the end of this video of a possible challenge or gauntlet style video I might be able to make thanks to the discovery of this really complex intersection scenario and the area it's in. There's a lot to be seen around Sarasota and Bayfront in the downtown area, so let me know if you're excited about that. I know I am. All that being said, let's go ahead and get into the critique of 12.6.2's failures.
That area looks nice where you're at.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky where we ended up. In it was called oh my gosh, University Heights. I totally spaced on.
Is that like not up here, the next one?
Oh, is it the next one?
Yeah, sorry. So were you in like a college town?
So this is really important, guys. This is one of the issues that is baked in to the actual navigation of FSD, and a problem with that sort of fine point precision or accuracy when it comes to routes. This is a bit more of a glaring example. So there is no cut in through this plaza to this neighborhood with which we're actually taking this customer to. So there was no excuse, or sort of maybe FSD found a shortcut. That is not the case here. This is just a blunder. It happens. It's okay. It can be corrected. There are issues that'll need to be resolved with regard to, you know, establishing an actual RoboTaxi or cybercab service, because you need to be able to rely on a really precise mapping and navigation and routing system, which Tesla very well might have already solved. So I am not too worried about this, but this is an example of a maps related customer failed trip that contributes to it not having a perfect record. So I just wanted to be able to show you guys this for transparency so you can see what I'm looking at and how I classify things. But this is an example of a maps related failure when it comes to the RoboTaxi results, you know, the data dashboard that I share. So you can actually go into that dashboard, you can go into causation, you can see the number of issues related to maps where you have this problem where it's just not doing it right. And this really isn't all that concerning to me, because with the amount of Teslas on the road and how they can handle data and camera feed and just everything going on wherever these cars are driving, Tesla could blow it out of the water with regard to a mapping system that would make Google look like yesterday's news. I'm not worried about that eventually getting resolved, but it is an issue. Now, we're just going to go ahead and mute the audio here and let it play in the background so you can see my concern here. That first speed bump, we did a good job of decelerating, and now we're coming around and we see this car hit the brakes. You even see me pointing to it because I know what's coming, and you can watch the speed. Not until I get on the brakes is there really any indication that it was actually going to stop here. We will watch that one more time. Watch the speed. It's not until I am taking over. Sorry. And that was going to hit a lot harder had I not taken over. And I got two customers in the back seat. I'm not trying to throw them into the roof of the car or cause unnecessary discomfort. And sure, it's another issue. I just noticed a sign on top of the stop signs bent from where Hurricane Milton came through. Sorry. This is a problem that needs to be resolved. You know, I've heard mixed results from people who have had issues with speed bumps. Most of the time, speed bumps are not a problem for me. It slows down well. It's able to read different kinds of speed bumps pretty well, because you have tabletop speed bumps like that. You've got really short ones. You've got the tiny yet tall ones that are just ridiculous that you'll see in some apartment complexes. And a lot of the time, it does a really good job of slowing down. But not all the time. And all it takes is that one time hitting a speed bump like this at speed that can cause a problem. So this was, I classified this as an obstacle versus like an actual, safety or a higher tier disengagement, because this wouldn't have been super destructive, but it definitely would probably make the customer think twice about riding with me again or with an autonomous vehicle. And we want customers that are going to come back and continue using the service.
Again. And that's because President Trump has a great story to tell about the legendary American revival.
System attempting to pass ahead of a semi-truck in oncoming lane. So, this should be pretty obvious. And quick aside, yes, I've got my phone up a lot of the time, listening to something in the background. In fact, the way I'm stumbling with trying to turn it off is because my eyes are forward as I'm driving, trying to get the phone out of the way so I can send the feedback to Tesla with regard to this. There were several times where on these backcountry roads while I'm cruising down, and this time without a customer, of course, the vehicle would want to make an execute a passing maneuver in a passing zone, which is very common in a lot of roads like this, where you've got the solid yellows that'll turn to dotted yellows, and if you're clear and you have somebody moving really slow in front of you as compared to the speed limit, you can get around them. Now, we're cruising around the speed limit, 89k here or 55 miles an hour, but I can tell you, the average person on these backcountry roads is doing a lot closer to 75, 80 miles an hour most of the time, and they love flying by you when it comes to these roads and maneuvers and just human impatience, really. But the problem is when FSD decides it's going to try to do this, which I have never had it even attempt to execute a passing zone maneuver on builds before 12.6.2. So, and I didn't have 12.6 or 12.6.1. This was the first 12.6 build I had. And it was surprising to me the first time it was going to do something like this around some farm equipment that was moving really slow. But there was a pickup truck in close proximity coming our way, and I had to take over because they would have had to slam on their brakes. They probably would have been very upset with me, and rightly so. This is classified as a safety disengagement because this is to stop the potential damage and destruction to persons or property when it comes to an unsafe maneuver. It is what it is. There will be people that try to justify or code it in whatever language they want to choose, but this is not good. And it needs to be able to discern when it's safe to execute a pass like this and when it's not. Now, after this, there are two examples of it doing just that, but I want you to pay close attention to the proximity to the oncoming vehicle and the speed with which we're passing these cars. And final bit for anybody who lost their mind about what was playing in my car. As any good American, I am just trying to keep up with what's going on in the administration. So if you felt triggered because you heard his name, maybe go take a nap, relax, it'll be okay. Moving on. All right, now here is the example I was talking about. Now I am ready to take over because depth perception is tricky here. I'm actually going to take a second to pause this because this is kind of important. I didn't get to mention it with the semi-truck that was coming toward us. In these videos, it will throw off how far these objects appear. Kind of like the right-hand mirror there. Objects in video are much closer than they appear. And you can see that with that semi-truck with how close or how quickly it passed us, while I was doing that voice note. And here, it was kind of the same thing. That's why you saw me, ready to take over. My hands were there, I don't know. And then I realized, you know what? Let's just let it happen. If I need to, I can just give it throttle and get around this car, and everything is fine. But pay real close attention here to how much time passes by the time we get back over to how this car passes us on the left-hand side. And don't worry, I'll explain why I'm doing the Vulcan hand gesture in a moment. Look at this. Just kind of gives you an idea. That semi-truck was not as far away as you thought. Now, it was a safe maneuver. We managed to pass the car, and it was cool. So these passing zone skills that FSD has now in 12.6.2, they do work when appropriate. Now, on this one real quick, and you'll see the Vulcan symbol again. After this, I promise I'll explain. You'll notice this dotted yellow is going to end. Now, where we're at in this video when this happens, I think we're in the clear to complete the pass and get over. But if you have a cop that's not feeling too generous, you can still be hit with an improper passing charge or infraction. So check this out. We're coming up. I give my signal. And then right here, we're committed to the pass. Some might argue that we could have slowed down and gotten back over behind that truck since the solid yellow was coming. Let me know what you guys think below, because this is something that FSD and Tesla, the team, has to think about with regard to legal maneuvers. And, you know, I would give this a pass as we were sort of committed to it and there was really nothing around, nothing unsafe. But when it comes to legal terminology or legal concerns, it can be a bit more nuanced. On top of that, as we continue, pay special attention to how close we were to these vehicles as they were coming, and the fact that if you rewind, you'll see that this was sort of a hill as well, which is why the lane changes to us not being able to pass, because it's a safety concern. They're trying to prevent you from doing that when you won't really be able to see what's maybe coming over the hill and how close somebody might be. These are very dynamic situations and a tough thing to solve, to be honest. It's interesting that Tesla is choosing to take this on, where the contrary would just be to, you know, cruise slower and stay in your lane and deal with what's in front of you.
You had trouble with your tires?
No, actually just found out today how tough these tires are. I was really worried that I had hit a pothole large enough to ruin my day. What was that for? Did you guys catch that? That is a weird one. I have never seen this before. We'll go back and we'll watch it again with the audio off. And I'm actually going to slow this down as well so we can see what's going on here. So we're coming up and we're passing this vehicle. And right here on the screen, you're going to see what's going on. Actually, right here as we're passing. Not even here. It's right here. And we'll pause it. Look at that. I don't know what caused this, but it is a all at once kind of a thing that I didn't even catch in the car, because I was immediately looking in the mirrors around me to see if we were trying to dodge somebody racing up behind us or whatever, because that is something that's happened in the past. But no, this is the anomaly I was referencing, and it is weird. I don't even know where to start here. So if you have any ideas, let me know, and we'll go ahead and let this play out. Interesting. Report that back to Tesla.
Yeah.
System engaged in evasive maneuvers for no discernible cause. Alright, so that's going to go back to the team. Yeah. Interesting.
All this praise.
I've had the going joke that usually when I'm talking up the system is when it'll do something kind of goofy.
Right.
Most of the time when it's doing something like that, it's because some lunatic is racing by, which is why I simultaneously took over and checked what was going on.
Yeah, that's funny.
Alright, handling passing oversized loads. Little close. Alright, we got one more. Whoa, we're swerving there. I'm taking over. There we go. Second occurrence. If it had only happened one time, I could say it was a really weird fluke maybe with that area. Two totally different regions. That video you just saw was me over in St. Pete, heading up 275 towards Tampa Airport. And this, I want to say, is back in Kenansville, kind of heading on the 60 towards Lake Wales, Sebring, Haines City from the east, like from Vero Beach and Melbourne area. So very different regions, very different types of roads. And you can see the same sort of weird anomaly where it is. Let me see if I can back up just to show you all here. There. Where for some reason we have a simultaneous issue of the intenticle or nav line on the actual display being like off somewhere else. Like it's almost like there was just nothing there and it had to recorrect, and it starts to swerve because it thinks it should be to the right. It's really, really, really weird. And no, so far, again, I have not seen this on 12.6.2. Keeping my eyes open for it because now I know what to look for. In both of these scenarios, you'll notice in the audio from the car, from me, I didn't catch what was happening on my display. That is why I'm really glad that I was able to catch these on camera and show you guys. Whoa, we're swerving there. I'm taking over. So an interesting swerve. I'm not really sure what's causing that. Something like that did cause a customer failed trip. So we're going to stop my part here and Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Maybe a little rough around the edges because it's my first time doing this. Because of the way I'm editing it, I sort of had to make this video first and then do this sort of streamer overlay on top of it. And I'm sure it'll look a little bit cleaner than it feels with me actually talking about everything. But yeah, I think it's really important to be able to acknowledge the mistakes and to look forward to corrections in the future with future builds and such. So I'm happy we're on 12.6.3. That was a very quick update interval from 6.2 to 6.3. And I really look forward to, hopefully, that trend continuing. Oh, and you're wondering if I was going to explain what was going on with me doing the Vulcan hand gesture. Here it is, because I almost did forget. So this is just my fun, subtle way of hinting to myself that something of interest had taken place. Some of you might have just garnered that just by looking what was going on. It was just, when I'm scrubbing through footage, sometimes it can be kind of hard to find those spots that I wanted to highlight for later, whether it was something really cool, really weird, fun conversation piece, whatever. So I just throw up the Vulcan hand gesture, you know, that way in video when I'm scrubbing through and I see it, I go, oh, this is a point of interest. So make sure I don't forget about it. And for a really quick little bit of fun here, you'll notice the Dragon Ball symbol on my screen and what's going on with my phone down here. Shout out to my boy Barris on BarrisT Anime Reacts. I have been following him and Madison for years. I am on his Patreon on 2 different channels watching Naruto Shippuden. We covered Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, and they're getting into Yu Yu Hakusho. And they're just a lot of fun. So if any of you guys like that sort of thing, just look up BarrisT Anime Reacts on YouTube or on Patreon, and you'll have a good time. Barris, if you're here watching this, I hope you enjoyed this little cameo appearance from you and Madison in my video. I really look forward to all the crazy fun we'll have geeking out and all the anime shows to come, man. But thanks everybody for tuning into this, and stay tuned for the little sneak peek at the upcoming challenge. It's gotten quite competent. This is a rather interesting unprotected left with a slant. This is fun.
The advantage of Old Bradenton Road is that it cuts out a little bit of traffic. Bad part of it is sometimes you gotta make a right-hand turn to U-turn.
Yeah, for sure. There are a few areas like that's actually not a bad spot to U-turn right there.
Yeah, it's very hard to get through here.
Which I'll probably need to divert to because there's not really a spot to wait in there either. So I'm gonna make an executive decision and do the U-turn option. Well, actually, this might be our break because there's nothing on the left.
Do something.
I didn't have to. Check that out. That's all in the car.